Hello everyone, X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And let's talk about confidentiality and Jehovah's Witnesses. Is there a part of the religion where they should be given confidentiality privileges, clergy privileges? The Catholic Church, let's use that for an example. Confession and confidentiality is a part of the religion. Meaning, if a priest were to break that, he would be deliberately going against his and probably a billion other people's faith that would be directly covered under what a priest can and can't say, can and can't report, and things of that sort. So, for example, let's say there is an instance of sexual misconduct. Well, if a person goes to a confessional and confesses this, well, that person that they confess to is under confidentiality restrictions. They can't report this. They can't report what is said to them in a confessional. From my understanding, they can't even see who it is that's speaking to them in the confessionals. I've been in one before. I've been in two before. One confessional, there were a line of people standing in front of a confessional, which is like a small compartment where you have a priest on one side and then the person confessing on the other, and there's like a wall there between the two. I went inside one and tried it, and the person that I was confessing to didn't even know who I was. That's confidentiality. That information isn't going out. Once you leave that confessional, that information goes nowhere. That's confidentiality. That's been a part of the Catholic faith for I don't know how long. For probably over 1,000 years. Literal. Going to church and confessing something and knowing that that information is going nowhere is a part of the Catholic religion. Jehovah's Witnesses have been trying to hide behind confidentiality because people who have been involved with misconduct with minors, pedophilia and things of the sort, that information has become known and not given to the police. Well, the excuse is, well, we have confidentiality kind of like the Catholic Church does. No, they don't. And then here's the reason for videos like this. If someone says, hey, I have confidentiality just like the Catholic Church, or just like this organization, or just like that religion, the person they're saying this to is probably just taking their word for it. How are you going to tell someone else their faith? Well, a person that was a part of that religion can definitely tell you whether or not they had a place to go where they could confess information or distribute information or tell their business and no one knew who said it. That information didn't go anywhere. Number one, Jehovah's Witnesses do not even have confessionals. They have no place to go where they can confess wrongdoing, like what I was mentioning before. They can't confess pedophilia or misconduct with minors or violent crime or anything of that sort in a confessional because one does not exist. Jehovah's Witnesses don't even believe in confession to priests. They're opposed to the Catholic belief of confession. So how can they hide behind a sort of confidentiality belief in regards to confession, and they don't even believe in it? Their religion is against it. There is no confessional. There is no place that I'm going to go and confess wrongdoing, and that information isn't going to become known. What do we know about Jehovah's Witnesses that are somewhat different from almost any other religion? One of those things is blasting a person on a platform with a microphone in front of an entire congregation. That is the polar opposite of the entire concept of confidentiality and confession and religious beliefs like that. There's no religious belief of confidentiality that covers you going, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, and talking with one of your spiritual advisors about something that you did, and then that person getting a group of people together to then drill you with questions in regards to what you brought up in discussion. So, first of all, this information is given out to a group of people because they form like a judicial committee meaning multiple people. Then after they're finished drilling you, because your information was not kept confidential, it was spread to a group of people who then formed a committee. After that committee is formed, and then they ask and get more information than what you were willing to give most likely to begin with. They're forcing the information out. This is different from confessional. This is completely different from confessional and confidentiality. And then once they've gotten all that information, they decide as to whether or not they're going to get up on a stage, whether you want them to or not, and then announce to everybody that you've been disciplined for whatever it is. Growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, typically when somebody was announced on stage for being disciplined, like literally get on a stage in front of everyone and say, this person has been reproved, or this person has been disfellowshipped, and no one is allowed to speak to them anymore. Once they do that, there's been very few cases where none of us could figure out what had happened. People then can start putting two and two together because a whole freaking committee was formed where this information was delivered. The problem is, why was the pedophilia in that organization kept so quiet? How come that didn't get out? They were particularly quiet in regards to pedophiles, particularly quiet about people who they knew broke the law. A whole committee was formed. This information was distributed to all these people. This stuff wasn't confidential. So for Watchtower, the organization that represents Jehovah's Witnesses, to then go and say, hey, don't come after us for not giving law enforcement the information that they needed to stop pedophilia and other reprehensible things. Don't come after us because we were under the same type of confidentiality that, Catholic priests and, religious people that believe in confidentiality. We were under that sort of stipulation. A former member would be able to tell you there's no such thing as confession. There's no such thing. They're lying. That's why it's important to have videos like this. Otherwise, the only person that they would have to go by in regards to things like this is the people from Watchtower that are kind of just making things up as they go to get themselves out of legal trouble. Now, does it seem right that an organization who puts its members on blast, far from confidentiality, they put their members on blast if anyone does anything wrong in front of everyone, and make sure that their family can't speak to them, and friends and everything else, they really put this person out there. If a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses do something wrong, they put them out there. Does it seem right, though, that if the organization that keeps its members under that microscope, if they do something wrong, well, they get to lie about it so that they can get away with it? Or they get to try to cover it up by suing anybody that puts their old literature online for others to read. They will sue that person to get that information hidden, taken down. They don't want people to know. It's not right that Watchtower or Jehovah's Witnesses as a group should be able to hide what they do whilst putting their members on blast. They shouldn't be able to lie about having some sort of confessional or member spiritual advisor confidentiality. That don't exist. You're not going to go to your spiritual advisor, tell them something that you did wrong, and they're not going to go form a whole committee of people and come after you. That's not going to happen. They're just not going to report to the police pedophilia in specific. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't even a church. They'll all tell you that. They're an organization. They're not even a church. They're an organization. They're very different from a church. So why would they then try to pretend to be like a church to hide from law enforcement? So comment down below. Let me know what you think. X-Wall-Kill Bethelite signing out. 937-789-4029. We'll discuss it. And, we'll discuss some of your ideas on that. Do you feel that they should be able to hide behind confidentiality, something that doesn't even exist in their religious belief? Again, X-Wall-Kill Bethelite signing out.